My name is Tim Mayall. I've worked at two multi-billion-dollar companies as a seven-figure sales rep and currently have a portfolio of clients from 500K to 100 million ARR at my growth consulting firm, Deliverability Protocol. In this video, you'll see how I helped GovDash, an AI infrastructure for government contractors that just got Series B funding for $30 million, get two eight-figure companies interested in their solution by running a cold email campaign on their behalf without them knowing at all. All this through Cloud Code. So that meant no context of what's worked or hasn't worked, fully leading blind. You'll see how we build an infrastructure, strategy, write the offer, and come up with the angles that led to those two companies to be interested in buying GovDash's solution. We'll actually look at the infrastructure itself. What you'll have to understand at a fundamental level is that, okay, we have an admin panel, right? And what we're going to do is actually buy secondary domains. Now, the reason why we don't use your main domain, for the pure reason of, if your main domain gets captured by Google or Microsoft, it's going to label as spam, and then any sort of internal sales email, internal email or sales email, you take one-to-one. Your account executives might take, or your CRO, or even the CEO might take, anyone internally. It just ruins the entire reputation. So we do that, and we kind of protect everything by buying secondary domains that are not attached to you guys whatsoever. And we buy inboxes from those domains, right? Lookalike inboxes, and just I'll constantly rotate them out, right? In this name of the game, right? You are constantly gonna have to play the game of Google and Microsoft, which is the name of the game, right? What you'll do is buy secondary domains, kind of similar to let's say GovDash, right? GovDash Tech, GovDash Co, right? Whatever it may be. And then we buy the inboxes, right? And then from there, we'll have our leads from multiple different sources. We'll send it to our sending automation platform, which is +5. And then you guys take the sales calls, and then you get paying clients. Pretty simple. And so, we spin up these dedicated domains, inboxes to disconnect from your main domain and organization. In case these domains are on private infrastructure, we dedicated and private IP access. We do not share the private access with other clients, meaning your center reputation score is not affected by others, unlike other platforms, right? So, if one gets marked as spam, you guys are perfectly fine. Do not cold email unless you create the infrastructure like this, right? Very, very key. And many companies have been burned by working with a provider who does not understand the email infrastructure side of things, right? So, use dedicated secondary domains, not connect to your main domain. Use dedicated inboxes under those secondary domains. Warm the domains up properly, right? Typically 14, 21 days. Distribute sending volume among the inboxes, and use a tool to certainly manage the leads and replies, right? And so when we look at the math of what we're going to do here, particularly send 1,000 emails per day and roughly 20,000 emails per month, working days, right? What that would be is roughly 70 Google inboxes. Like I said, 15 emails, so roughly 1,050. And we already have everything set up in +5. And what we'll do is just 2 inboxes per domain, as I showed in that graph over there. But yeah, what we're going to do now is just dive straight in, right? Now we have everything basically set up. Now, what we're going to do is just type in GovDash right here, GovDash. And then what it's going to do is actually build an entire sort of, first of all, go-to-market document where it have analysis of what's currently happening in the market, any low-hanging fruit opportunities. Basically, how can we have a really good baseline understanding of the market and where they're playing at? And from there, it'll make our offer and messaging a lot more simpler. So I'm going to let this load, and then, I'll be back. And so now that we're at this stage, right, where we've got the infrastructure set up, the total addressable market, everything kind of set up, now what we built is a full-on document, and what it's done is actually give us an expected net after million verifier of how many total addressable people we could reach out to, at least for this trial, right? We could probably expand this a little bit more. I will probably find ways to expand this a little bit more because it's a little bit tight. But I want to go over mainly the document that is generated and actually give you a baseline understanding as to what we look for. So maps out everything from the market opportunity to priority segments, ICP, where to play, what to sell, how to engage, sourcing and targeting, right? Messaging, 90-day executive roadmap, what would sharpen this document, the risks, all right, AI stuff. But yeah, it gives an exact summary of what they're at. What sort of sources, market event that creates urgency, right? When we talk about relevance, I talk about someone's job title, right? When you talk about public sector people, and I have a background selling in public sector, so I understand there's certain events, right? There was a huge thing in IT where, there was a cut in cybersecurity funding, and that was a humongous thing, right? And it's obviously varied by state, but I understand the priority segments, ICP, right? Who you reach out to, the chief growth officer, director of capture, director of proposals, right? Sometimes it'll be there. where to play, what to sell, how to engage, and the economic argument. So it gives us a good baseline. I'm not going to go too deep into this. But yeah, it's just more so to show like, hey, potentially even like messaging we can kind of create here. So I'm gonna let this run. I'm gonna try to get some more context, but we'll see. This is a trial run. We'll just see how much it kind of runs out. And yeah, from there, we'll kind of get moving. All right, so what we have is roughly 1,800 leads. And the copy, I did change it up a little bit. I give an example of a totally different copy. But it's a good framework, right? Hey, I pulled reason I'm reaching out, something of value. Not sure how you're planning to defend those, but this is run cap proposals through us, a bit without adding staff. If you're up to hearing, we'll help you do the same. But happy to walk you through it. Worst case, saying the full award takedown we did for you. So it's a call to action, right? Still giving value and a kind of relevance thing. So as you can see here, right, in one of the campaigns that we have the actual leads. I'll blur the names, and then the sequences we're trying out. So 5 different variants, right, potential looks, and then 2 steps for step 2. And what we're going to do, typically we find some people on step 1 immediately respond, but more often than not actually step 2, and it's actually that soft bump, because more often than not, right, people just get busy, they see the offer, they resonate with it, but might not necessarily reply. That's kind of the thesis behind like why cold email especially should be done every 30 to 60 days, regardless if you hit them or not, because sometimes you just might not have seen it. Yeah, so we're good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and schedule this, and then I'll check in within like 5 to 6 days. Yeah, so I mean, we sent roughly 1862. Got 1 positive reply for this campaign. Got 1 positive reply for this campaign. I think there were some deliverability issues as well. The bounce rates have been significantly higher. We actually, just as it happened to be, faced some delivery issues with the sample boxes we were using, so it kind of hurt deliverability scores. I think we probably could have doubled this at least got 4 positive replies. But this goes to show, right, like no matter how perfect the system is and how expertise it is, like this is something you have to really, really keep on top of. But I mean, to be frank, like for a campaign where we had no context on the business itself, about prior segments, priority segments, any messaging that's already worked in the past of outbound, right? And no sort of like, hey, like kind of thing can give away necessarily. Like realistically, I'm pretty happy with the results. Don't love it. I think that we could have got more. But for this being completely cold, we got 2 people who are interested in replies. Hey, please send over the list. Hey, I'd like to see specifically how GovDash works. So, I mean, they're verbally saying, hey, I want to see how this platform actually works. And these are not small companies, right? I researched both of these companies. They're roughly, at least from what I could tell, like 50 to 200 employees, a little bit VSMB, mid-market-ish. So, it could be like 50, 60K deals. But, like, this just goes to show, right? Like, hey, this is still a decent channel, especially in the outbound segment where if you just know you can scale the volume here, right? If you sent 1,800 emails, right, without delivery issues, let's assume a little bit lower, 1,800 emails, you get 1 positive reply, right? And it's assuming like, hey, like we might get a little bit more honestly after where people come back more in office, the prior weeks, because sometimes we see people kind of roll over. But yeah, this just goes to show like, hey, like this is what we could do. Cold email is still a viable channel, and this is not including cold calling. It's not including warm calling. It's not including LinkedIn, right? Where realistically in this day and age, you can multi-app on one channel alone was able to 2 positive replies that are likely combined like 20, 50K deal sizes.